Come down. Ooh, you make my high come down. Always tripping when you come around. Never have to cut you out like right now. You see, I don't have to drive me. You can say that for your mama. Maybe you should smoke some. Me try the marijuana. I was never you good. The vibe was straight. Showed you a couple of things and they finished change. I treated you right. Everything was a gift from a time to your bag and the color on your lip.
Welcome to the Seahawks Man podcast, powered by Blue Wire. Shout out to the new company. My name is Michael Sean Dugar. You guys can follow me on whatever Elon Musk is calling that app these days. My at name has not changed. It's also bang right there under my finger for those watching on YouTube at Mike Dugar. Speaking of our YouTube channel, Seahawks Man is the name of the channel. That is Seahawks Man, the number 2 man. We appreciate the love and support. Make sure you like, comment, rate, review, subscribe, all the good buttons. Do the same thing on our Instagram, on our TikTok. Hit all those buttons that support us, basically. So thank you in advance for doing that. Really appreciate the love. Chris, go ahead and talk to him.
What is going on, everybody? It's your boy, Christopher Kidd. You can follow me on Blue Sky and Twitter at CKIDD206 and that's CKID206.
All right, before we get going with the actual post-game pod, as you guys know, I've been selling books pre-game. And then part of the book sales, what's been a fun experience of that is everybody who, when buying a book, is like, hey, I listen to you and Chris. I listen to you and Chris all the time. So I want to give some shout outs early in the show. Let's start with my guys from Finland. I'm going to butcher these names here. I can't even try. I know little man's name was Lassie. Let's go with that. And I think Sam is who sent me the photo we took earlier. So shout out to you guys all the way from Finland, Chris. They rock with us over there.
Dope. Appreciate it.
Oh yeah. Big time love. All right, what else we got? We got shout out to Susan. Met Susan pregame. Shout out to Carrie as well. Shout out to Sean, who I ran into pregame. Let's see. Oh man, I'm gonna mess up this name. Shatayu. I know we met. I know we took a pic. I might have just butchered your name. If so, I'm sorry. But thank you for buying the book. Appreciate the love. And I got one more. Bert. Shout out to Bert and his daughter who bought a book. This was a post game. And Chris. Bert is a listener of the show. He knows that I have a kid. He had his daughter Leanne make a bracelet that my daughter is wearing. Actually, no, I took it off of her so I can show it on the show. But I'll put it back on her. She's asleep right now. Anyway, shout out to Bert and his daughter Leanne. Thank you so much. That means the world. That concludes the shout outs of today. But thank you guys so much, everyone who came down. I'll be selling more books on Thursday. If you need one, hit me up. But yeah, appreciate the love from everyone on that. Now, let's pivot. Chris, we're sitting here right now. Seahawks just beat up on Grandpa Rivers. They won 18-16. Those are the facts. Let's get that out the way. Now let's get another thing out the way. What I want you guys to hear and see here. We got video of this. Yes, we do. This is Mike McDonald, and what I would actually call maybe his best post-game speech of the year. This is Coach McDonald today.
That's how you win right there, man. Tell you what, great football teams find a way to win games. All shapes and sizes in the NFL. You guys are a great football team, okay? Freaking all 3 phases. Roster 1 through 70, all coaches did a great job of adjusting throughout the game, all 3 phases. Awesome job. The resiliency, men, the relentlessness, all the way to the last second, that's some high-powered stuff. Okay, that's what great teams do, all right? And, hey, look, and we're going to have games like that coming down the stretch, okay? They can come all shapes and sizes, okay? And all we got to do is just go to the next play and figure out a way to win. And that's what we did, okay? That's what we freaking did.
That, Chris, was probably Mike McDonald's best speech. His flow was good. He didn't get up there and say, I don't know what to say. You know, like, hey, man, it's week 15. You've been a coach for 2 years, man. Have something prepared, right? So good job. Also, guys, everything, and ladies listening, everything he said was accurate there. Great teams do find ways to win. You have to win different ways. Sometimes you win with your defense. Sometimes you win with your special teams. Sometimes you win with your offense. Sometimes it's all 3. And not every game in December and January is going to be that Commanders game or that Saints game or even the second Cardinals game. Sometimes you are in a fight with a good team or a bad team And with all the work that they put in, as bad as football hurts, everything that goes into playing on Sunday, when you go out there and you win, no matter how it looks, you deserve to celebrate. You've earned it. That's good. That's how the coach should feel right after the game, walking off the field into that locker room full of guys who are banged up, sore, gave it all out there. That's the right attitude and mindset to have because he is correct. Cool. Got that out of the way. Now, Chris, here's for how we give our opinions here. For everyone listening right now, watching, if you are of the mindset, hey man, Mike and Chris, what the hell was that? Don't let anyone tell you that you are not justified in that opinion. Don't let anyone tell you should just be, hey man, shut up. We won, man. Don't be complaining about winning. Don't apologize. No. It's okay. It is okay to be upset with what you just witnessed. Or it is okay to be upset thinking that what you just witnessed will not get the team where it wants to go or where it perhaps should go. Because Mike McDonald is like, he's saying like something that I think is like half right within that speech, Chris, in that he said great teams find ways to, sure. I'm not sure the Seahawks are a great team. Like they are playing what I would call winning football, which that's good. I cannot say confidently though that they're playing championship ball, which is probably if you're someone listening right now who's like, dog, what's up with our offense? What's going on here? Why are we sleepwalking through games in December in the first half? The reason you feel that way is because you're like, yo, we need to play better if we want to be playing ball late in January. And there's nothing wrong with feeling that way because by the time you're listening to this, it's Monday. You know who agrees with that sentiment? Mike McDonald. Look at that tape and be like, yo, that was cool on Sunday. We do that nonsense again, like we have been the last 3 games, particularly on offense. Everyone will be at Cabo a week or 2 earlier than expected. And Chris, I want people to know that is not, it's okay to be like, yo, that's good we won, but because this team has greater aspirations than barely beating a Colts team, or like if they're just frustrated with the offense, which we'll get into literally 60% of the questions I think about the offense that we got, and I haven't even heard the voicemails. So yeah, it's a win. But Chris, if this team wants to be considered, wants to be talked about as a championship team, we shouldn't be fielding so many questions as we are about the offense sleepwalking through the first halves of these games.
It's definitely a major concern. And for instance, your lead running back, Ken Walker, 1.9 yards per carry. That's just embarrassing. And it's not as if Zach Charbonnet did much better. He had 8 carries for 31 yards, 3.9 yards per carry. Ken finished with 17 yards on 9 touches. They cannot run the football effectively. It's just not effective. Now, the good side of it is the play action works very well. It's still, linebackers still come up, safeties, they might jolt just a little bit, and that's all you need. You just need a half second to create separation for your receivers. But the good teams, they're going to do what the Seahawks did against Phillip Rivers. We're going to play 2-man high, 2 safeties high, that is, 2-man shell, and we're going to stop the run. That's what teams are going to do against the Seahawks if they can't run the football in the playoffs, that is. In the regular season with a few games left, teams are probably still not afraid of going one-on-one, which you probably should be against JSN because he had another solid day with 7 catches, 113 yards. So maybe not as much.
Did he go for that many? That's
Yeah.
real. Let me see.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's the quietest 113. Sorry to cut you off. Wow.
No, you're good. That. Yeah. Do you remember the one that he broke away from? He caught a little, 15-yard out route. It was a double move. He broke inside, then got back out. Sam scrambled and threw a pass to him. I think he had like 28 yards there. So
that was 39, but where's the other?
Oh, excuse me, 39. Yeah. So he had a quiet day, but a quiet but big day. But anywho, the offense,
is a big day. Wow.
Yeah. He's chugging along. But the offense just has a lot of question marks, man. And to your point, a championship roster, a championship team, you can't have as many games as the Seahawks have had where the offense has looked pretty rough. Last week, they had a rough first half. In my head, I figured, they'll have a rough first half. I didn't expect it to be the entire game. Last week, as I mentioned, rough first half against the Falcons. Second half, they figured things out. Shaheed takes it back on a kick return that kind of kickstarted everything. And then on Sunday against the Colts, it really didn't change much. But as Mike has pointed out, no one can guard JSN. So that was a plus. That still showcased. And then Rashid Shaheed, he came up clutch and he basically put the Seahawks in a position to win the game. Sam and him were just connecting on back-to-back plays that led to an opportunity for the Seahawks to kick the game-winning field goal. And Jason Myers nailed it. So there's some positive light, but for a championship team, this is not where they want to be. And you're 100% right. Mike McDonald understands that, and I'm sure he's going to drill that because coming in Thursday, there's a team that has championship written all over them if they can stay healthy and things of that nature. Matthew Stafford's playing really good football. Puka Nacua, he's doing his thing. He's arguably the second best, if not the best receiver in the NFL. I'm sure Rams fans would argue that Jason's not the number one. It doesn't matter. The point is this team is coming in and they're looking, well, they're not coming in. They're going to be at home and they're going to be looking to handle business and take care of the Seahawks. So quick turnaround for these guys. Thursday night football game, but yeah, you got to get this game out of your head and realize what's at stake now. You have a chance to really win, be the number one seed if you can win on Thursday. And if you could take that mindset and get something going in the run game, I think perhaps maybe then you can start believing in championship aspirations. Because right now, it's not championship ball, but it is. Well, the defense is championship ball. It's just the offense. So
and special teams playing good ball too.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's true. So you have 2 of the 3. Can you get that third one? And you're going to need that third one in a big playoff game. You're really going to need them. You just can't rely on your defense to hold a team to field goals and give up 1 touchdown. That's really tough to do. Holding an offense to 16 points week in and week out, very tough to do. I'm sure Ernest Jones will tell you, nah, that's what you get paid to do. He's 100% right. But then you also want your offense to go and score. And that's what the Seahawks just are not doing efficiently with touchdowns. Yes, they're scoring field goals, which I don't mind, but the Seahawks better give J-My a bonus here, an extra milli for what he did on Sunday versus the Colts.
Yeah, they should take a page out of the Clippers book, and like how they was paying Kawhi through a third party or something like that, or, call Zulily or one of these companies that are T-Mobile, Amazon or something like that, try to just transfer some money through a third back channels to get, damn, I just gave it away now, but hopefully they find another company that I didn't just name, to give J-My and Crystal and Michael Dixon, all the guys involved in the field goal operation, a bonus because they needed him to beat the Colts, basically. Like it just could not score touchdowns. And they're a decent red zone offense still. I think they're above average. So it's not like their red zone offense is like, I got to hit the panic button on it. Also, JSN, by the way, no longer on pace for not even 1,900 yards, let alone 2,000.
It's tough, man.
Yeah, he's tailed. I mean, he's still on pace for, my math says 1,870. So, I mean, that's obviously an outstanding first-team All-Pro season. But it's interesting how that is cooled off. Like, I'm about to tell my editor, there's not even no point in doing that story about him chasing Calvin. I don't even think it's not worth it. I don't even think he's going to get close. But, yeah, I mean, that's – defense is playing championship ball. These guys are good. That they adjusted really well to how the Colts came out because they didn't know. They didn't know what the Phillips Rivers was going to do. Like, how far can he throw? They legit had no idea. And then they found out probably like 3 series in, not far. so let's adjust to that. And then they did. They stopped the run really well once they adjusted as well. As bad as the Seahawks run game was bad. Colts wasn't. It was better, but not by much. Like special teams is good. Yeah, J-My needs a raise, Christmas bonus, something. Big carton of eggnog, spiked eggnog. Because that they carried them, and it's just fascinating how this late in the season the offense is the thing needing to be carried. And before we get into the questions, how I look at this, Chris, is the one thing I've commended the defense for doing is the opponent comes in with a baseline. Like they score X amount of points. They move the ball to this rate. Their star player usually contributes this each week, whatever players are part of the game they're good at. And the Seahawks usually take that away. If you're a good red zone team, take that away. You got, Bijan goes crazy, take that away. Jonathan Taylor goes crazy, take that away. Insert star player does thing, or this team is good at this element. Mike McDonald makes that team play below their baseline. Did it again today. Jonathan Taylor was really inefficient. Tyler Warren did a bunch of nothing, right? They did that. The problem, teams are doing that to Seattle's offense. Like Jackson's still on a good average pace, but it's very clear teams are going into the plans against the Seahawks, how Chris and I would if we were like co-defensive coordinators of a team. You know what we would do? We would say, you know who has to beat us? Literally anyone but number 11. And that is like they're just not afraid of Cook beating them or Shaheed or whoever or the run game. They're just like, we just make sure 11 doesn't kill us. We got a fighting chance. And that's exactly what the Colts did. That's what every team is going to do. Different teams are going to go about it a different way. That's what every team is doing. That's the smart thing to do. And until these guys have a counterpunch, we're going to see some more like Mike McDonald speeches that may or may not end with shapes and sizes and all that. Maybe it's like, I'm glad you guys fought to the end, good effort out there, blah, blah, blah. But nobody's trying to hear that when, Chris, this is the most important game of the year coming up against the Rams. I feel like everything since the Rams, everybody when they ask questions to us, they've been like, you guys think we'll win if we do that against the Rams? Like
No.
everything's been building towards the Rams game because they've had 4 pretty bad teams between the Rams game and this one. Titans, Falcons, Vikings, Colts with Rivers. Like they've all basically been seeing whether the Seahawks can check the necessary boxes to feel like they should be the favorites coming into Thursday. And the answer is no. Defense is, special teams is. Offense does not look like it. So let's get into these voicemails because Chris tells me we have some good ones.
Hey there, Michael, Sean, and Chris. Jacob calling in from Wilder, Vermont. Loved the game tonight. Hoping to get some insight on that amazing clock management that Mike McDonald did there. Thought that was pretty exquisite. Wondering about your opinions on that. Also, how about them calls on the lack of Seahawks getting any PIs? Seems like there was a lot of defensive interference. Appreciate y'all.
Appreciate that. Where's that from? Vermont? Is that what he said?
Yep.
Wow, I might be the first one from Vermont.
It is.
It is.
Seahawks
Yeah.
are everywhere.
Everywhere. Love that. Game management. I'm glad that someone asked about something when the person did the right thing. Because Chris and I are used to getting questions about when the coach does the wrong thing, or Anthony Bradford plays bad, or such and such, Reek plays bad. But then when these people do the thing that you ask them to do, we don't hear nothing. Reek's been playing good for like a month. Well, we got questions about Reek last week in a positive way, so I'll give you guys that. But then like no one's asked about Anthony Bradford or the right guard spot, right? And then what game was that where Mike McDonald just did some stupid stuff with it was the Vikings game? He mismanaged the clock. I think it was.
After Sam got his ass beat for a half.
Yeah. Yep. And then today, to the point of the question here, I thought Mike McDonald. I should give the breakdown here of what happened. Basically, when the Colts converted, what was that? A
Pass
third and Alec Pierce. I'm trying to figure out how long that was. That
12
was
yards?
It was a little longer. It was 16 yards. Here we go. Pass deep left to Alex Pierce, 16 yards, right? Over Josh Jobe. Great back shoulder throw, by the way. The timing on that, to have that already just thrown to Alec Pierce is pretty crazy. So right after that was coming out of the 2-minute warning, about 40 seconds bleed pretty much. And then Jonathan Taylor runs for no gain on a run blitz. That was really cool. And then Mike calls timeout. Then a pass to Tyler Warren for 3 yards. Spoon cracks him. Shout out to Spoon. Timeout. Jonathan Taylor runs for 4 yards. I think I saw Stephen Holder. Shout out to my guy over there. Works for ESPN, covers the Colts. Used to work for The Athletic. I think he tweeted that Rivers checked to that run on 3rd and 7 to Jonathan Taylor. Mike calls timeout again. So this is Mike gave a shout out to he has like a management guy, clock manager, Brian Ayers, good guy, basically their resident nerd. He's basically the younger, more equipped for the job version of Tater. If you guys know Pete's right-hand man, because Pete told Chris and I that they just be winging it. Him and Tater do, which was nuts. It's good to know Mike and Brian are just not just winging it. But they were applying what I heard Tom Brady say one time when he was talking about game management. I think it was last year calling a game, maybe this year, whatever. He was like, I always prefer to use the timeouts because you can't stop time that you don't have. And that was I forget which game he was calling. I was like, that is brilliant. And that's right. And that's what Mike was believing in that time. He was like, yes, I could maybe hope that they miss the field goal or whatever. Even if they make the field goal, we get the ball with, let's call it, what would it be, Chris? Like 30 seconds
Yeah.
or something, maybe, depending on how those plays go, and all 3 of your timeouts. But then you just lost the time. So what? You can stop the clock. You don't have any time. You can't stop time you don't have. And I thought that was very important. I shout out to Brady. He's the person I heard say that. It's not like a revelatory thing, but yeah, I thought that was very, very good in real time, and that did help them win the game. Did they talk about that on the broadcast? The timeouts?
You
Hope so.
know, I don't recall. I'm sure they did, but I was locked in.
That's right. You watched the game with the sound off.
I don't, but I'd be locked in, so I feel you.
Yeah. No, that was game changing. And that's smart. That's smart stuff there. Like you can't stop time you don't have. Like keep that in mind too. That's basically how I hear you can't stop time you don't have. That's how Mike McDonald didn't say that. I'm glad Greg Bell asked me questions about it in the press conference. I wasn't in there, but I listened to it on the way home. That's the way to do it. Shout out to him for that. That was game-winning, game management stuff. And what was the second part of that? Oh,
second,
PIs.
yeah.
Which ones there was another one outside the Shaheed one?
The JSN on the slant, the DB was basically all over him. They didn't throw a flag. Probably should have been, to be honest. He ran a slant from the left side of the offense.
I remember that now,
yeah, that probably should have been called. I thought it was a pass interference. He was all over JSN, to be honest.
He was.
But they didn't call it.
Yeah, he was. That one. So on that one, I thought, so what happened was the slant was within 5 yards. So the DB was like, I'm just not letting go, but the problem is eventually you have to let go.
Yeah.
You can be on him because like it's not holding because you're within 5 yards. Once the ball's in the air, you do have to let go because then it's DPI. Like the calls are different. Before the ball's thrown, it's holding, which he's not guilty of because within 5 yards. Once the ball, even though it's the slant, as soon as the ball's in the air, he's got to let go. So I did think that one was a DPI. For what it's worth, I also thought Jobs was a DPI.
Oh,
he just basically went through the guy. Can't do that. Why would you do that? You can't do that. I thought Jobs was a good no call on the back shoulder, I think against Pittman in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I thought because they were both holding onto each other there, both of them looking at the ball, and then the ball just sails 3 yards out of bounds. So yes, I think they missed that. I thought they missed the Jax one. That they got the other two right. Got the one on Job they called, the one on Job they did not call. So what's that? They're 2 of 3. And then there's the Shaheed play on 3rd and 7. On the one hand, and I got multiple good replays at that. On one hand, I'm like, is that DPI? Yeah, probably. But also, Chris, I was like, go try and catch the ball.
Okay, we were on the same page because he gave up. Like as soon as the dude touched him, he was like this. Shaheed put his hands up as if to try to draw the flag instead of just, maybe trying to go catch it. Because if he tries to catch it, maybe the ref then throws it because he's giving that effort. But instead, Shaheed backs off and is kind of like, yo, he's impeding the process for me to make this catch. And the DB is smart. He then turns his head to look for the ball. He gets hands on him, but looks. And the ref's like, oh, yeah, I'm not giving you that. I'm not going to give that to the offense. And then it goes as a no call. So I actually thought that was a good no call. But I'm with you, Mike. Shaheed definitely could have given just a little bit more to see if he can, A, make the play, or B, maybe the ref says, you know what, he's giving a shot at it. I'm going to throw it. Maybe they got it wrong. Later on, they realized we probably shouldn't have thrown that flag. But Shaheed didn't even give that an opportunity. He just, hey, he's pushing me. That's illegal. And didn't get the benefit of the doubt on that play.
Yeah, and then with the contact, it probably was, but it's like you gotta go sell it more than that because there's just no guarantee that the ref sees it the way you do. Like JSN kept fighting through the slant to try to catch it, and then was like, "Where's my flag?" Which I think he should have got. So I don't think those change. Honestly, the most unfortunate call was not even a bluff or not even a whiff, but it was. I think they go for it on 4th and short. The Colts do. False start and then don't get it. So because they didn't get it, because it was a false start, which Mike McDonald can't decline, they get 4th and 6 instead of 4th and 1 to kick a field goal. It's like a 3-point false start. It's a weird quirk in the rules there. I forget at what point of the game that was. I can look it up. But otherwise, I don't think the refs impacted the game in that way. The refs miss calls every game, so I'm not really thinking that was storyline there. But yeah, I think that the coach, the point that really sticks out to me from all those plays is the Shaheed one. Like, because Tyler Lockett used to do that too, just fall. At least Tyler would fall though. Like when he like DB push him, he just flops like a soccer player. And he would usually get those calls too. Yeah, Shaheed just throwing his hands up like almost like to not trying to catch a punt, like waving it off. I didn't like that at all. And I bet you his receivers coach probably in there like, yo, go get that ball. So yeah.
What up, Mike, Chris? This is Jerry from Boise, Idaho, giving you guys a shout after the win on my post-dinner dog walk victory celebration. Like you guys, I'm a big fan of the stats and the numbers, but I'm also a big believer in the vibes. And I feel like in the last 5-6 years in a game like today when things were going bad and the other team was believing, the vibes always told me we're going to give up a touchdown at the end. Jason Myers is not going to make this kick. And we've lost these games. And today, I never felt like we were going to lose. I was not happy, but I still always believed. Question for Mike, who's in the locker room and sees these guys. Is there a palpable difference this year with the feeling and the belief and the vibes of this team? Or is this just one of those fan things that doesn't mean anything? Appreciate it. Love you guys. Merry Christmas.
Appreciate that from Boise. Merry Christmas. Yeah, no, some guys, the thing about fans is they have all the context of the previous iterations of the team, and some guys just legitimately do not have that. Like with the feeling that's being described there, is real, but you're able to juxtapose it to previous seasons, like Pete Ball. Byron Murphy can't do that. Nicky Memori can't do that. DeMarcus Lawrence and Cooper Kupp can't do that. Shoot, even JSN can barely do it. He's in year 3. There's just a lot of guys on the team like that who this is all they know. I was talking to Eamon Worry about the mob ties thing. This was a few weeks ago. And he was just talking about the brotherhood and the locker room and everything. And he was just like, within his answer, he was like, it's my first year. So I don't know if it's like this everywhere. They tell me it's not, but I just don't know. It's like, this is all I know. It reminds me of talking to guys whose entrance to the league was like the Legion of Boom, the Legion of Boom era, I should say. And they were like, this is all I know. All Doug Baldwin knew was a certain level of brotherhood because this is the only team he played for, So that's why guys like Cliff and Mike B, when they got here, they were like, okay, how do we fit in here? Because it was unlike anything they had experienced because they came from other teams, Mike from Tampa and Cliff from Detroit. So I say all that to say, some guys are just like, it's almost like it's like a kid not really knowing any better. You're just vibing. That's it. There's no comparative vibes to be made because there's no one that really has much to compare it to. There's not a lot of guys here who played that long for Pete. The guys from the 2022 class, for instance, Reek, Boye, those guys played 2 years for Pete. That's it. And those are like veterans on this team. So I think that's one thing I pick up on quite regularly. Talking to Gray as well gives that same feel as talking to Nick. But the other part, though, these last few weeks have been very interesting because the vibes on the last month have been different vibes on different sides of the locker room. Everyone is happy they won. I do not want to misconstrue that. However, like talking to Nick today, a rookie, talked to him after the game, felt entirely different than talking to Gray Zabel. It felt entirely that Gray was like, I'm glad we won. Shaheed's the man. Our defense is great. But then he also said, did I put this in my story? I did. I got to pull up that quote. Let me pull up this. What did Gray Zabel tell me today? He said, I was like, what's up with the offense? He was like, there's probably a lot of things happening. I didn't play my best game. I gave up way too many pressures. I was having Sam move off his spot. I've got to be better up front. We'll go and do a deep dive here. I know it's a short week, but still got to understand it's not good enough. I think there's a lot of guys up front that are probably saying the same thing, end quote. And that he's the only lineman I talked to that I had time to talk to today. But that has generally been the feel of the offense the last like 3 games. I would say it's like, yeah, we won, but meanwhile the defense is like, we are lit. They're like, yo, we are the death zone, the mob, whatever, the mafia. like the crime syndicate. They just got all the nicknames and all the vibes over there because they've earned it every week. Where the offense is like, yeah, we did good, but like, even Sam Darnold today was like, yeah, we won, but we don't want to have to use J Maya that much. Like 6 field goals. Come on, dog. That's the vibes in the locker room. Everyone's happy they won. I cannot reiterate that enough. Everyone's happy they won, but there is just a standard. It's just a standard. Same thing. What game was that? The Titans game. Guys on defense were like, "What the hell did we just do in the fourth quarter against Cam Ward?" They're like, "That was not good enough." That's how they felt. They won, scored 30 points as a team. They were like, "That wasn't good enough." You could feel it. Like, there was one guy who just wouldn't even talk to me. He was like, "I didn't do nothing. Defense played bad. I'm out of here, Mike. I'll talk to you next week." And then he did talk to me next week, to his credit. So I think that's the vibe right now. Like, they feel good, but different units are recognizing when they are and are not meeting their standard, which makes it weird. The coverage is kind of weird because I don't want to just poo-poo on their wins, but I'm in there watching and listening to guys who are like, "We won, but." So it makes me hop on the mic with Chris and be like, "They won, but." That sounded crazy. They won, but they need to be better. Finish that sentence there. That sounded insane. But hopefully that made sense. So those are vibes I kind of get.
Hey, Mike and Chris. It's Jordan from Brooklyn calling. Love the pod. Appreciate you guys for all you do. I have 2 questions, one about the pod and one about the Hawks. First is like, this running back situation is confusing to me. Is it a thing where they'll manage the workload of a guy during the year? Like, I kind of believe that Kenneth Walker is not going to be on the team next year. And looking at what they did today, Sunday, against the Colts between Charbonnet and Walker, trading them off and stuff, like, I'm trying to get my head around what's going to happen next. Pod question. Look, guys, the opening song is such a bop, but what's this thing about my high coming down? You know what I'm saying? Like, is it just you've been hurt by the Seahawks so long? I know the song's about a girl, but I'm thinking about every time, I'm jamming out, I'm listening to the intro, but I'm like, the Seahawks, did they hurt you so bad? All right. Appreciate y'all.
All right, Chris, before we get into the running back thing, I got to shout out my guy. What is David's artist name? I want to say it's Kofi.
Yep.
Kofi. Yeah,
Brent
shout out to my
Kofi.
guy David. The song is called "High Come Down." That is our song. It's a sample. It's a flip of Evelyn something.
Champagne something.
Yes. We should know this. We should know this.
We should.
We should be better than this. Love Come Down. It's the love. Yes, Evelyn Champagne King. Love Come Down. It's this flip of that. By my guy David. Went to Wazoo together. He actually works for the Rams. Took a picture with him, saw him, talked to him post game. In week 11. So that I'd have to ask him. Maybe I get a quote from him about the song itself. But that's where it comes from. Shout out to him. That's my guy. Really happy for him. Chris, as far as the running back situation goes, if you're Zach and Chris, if you're Zach and Ken, do you even want to do this in 2026? This does not look fun for them. Like, I didn't have their numbers in front of me when you read them to start the show. Oh, that is terrible.
Yeah.
Nothing they're doing looks fun for the running backs. I mean, they're obviously winning, but it's just not blocking well. This is it's one thing for the run game to not be dominant, which is fine. Not every good team has the Chiefs have won multiple Super Bowls without a dominant run game, right? The Rams won theirs without a dominant run game. You can do it, but this just seems like, let me see if this makes sense to you. It feels like, Chris, their runs are like momentum killers. It feels like it's like they can have a good play throwing, and then as soon as they run it, I'm like, well, there goes the fun. A run play. You know what I mean? It just feels weird watching their run game right now.
Very inconsistent, and here you are in week 15, it's still an issue. I don't know. I have no words for it. We talked a little bit about it going into to start the show. It's really bad. Really bad. So when you think about it, how can it get better? I know Mike's favorite quote is skate better. I don't know if they can actually run better, to be honest. It is a mood killer. It is a drive killer. You have to just say, we have to go to JSN. We have to go to Shaheed. We have to throw the football to number 88, AJ Barner, because it's ineffective. It really is. There's no way in hell the Seahawks have the ball with 6 minutes against the Rams up 3, and I can count on them to run the clock out. They're going to throw the football, and they might end up getting a field goal, but it won't be because they were on the ground. Instead of it being a 4-minute Seahawks win by 3, close the game out, they knee it at the end of the game. It's more so, the Rams get the ball back down 9 with 4.5 minutes. Yeah, that sounds great. It's perfect. That's awesome. But the fact that you can't rely on the offense to run the ball effectively, to chew the game up, chew the clock up, and end it with your quarterback taking knees. And as I mentioned, I think 2 weeks ago, the coaches are dapping up at the 50 with 40 seconds and ticking, counting on the clock, because you're able to basically end the game with your run game. The Seahawks have not done that at all this season. So that is something to think about. Do you trust this team up a few points to be able to just run the game out? Or will they have to go to their number one guy, which isn't the terrible thing to go to JSN. But if a defense knows that and they come out and play as the Minnesota Vikings did and say, you know what, JSN is not going to get anything today. You're going to have to beat us with everyone else. That could become an issue. So they really got to figure it out. But I don't know if they can just get better in a few weeks, let alone on Thursday. But I'm sure a bunch of it is execution. But this defense coming in, the Rams, they stopped the run. So that's kind of a recipe for disaster, might I add.
Yeah, I'm looking at this. There was a drive in the first quarter. I'm looking it up now. Looking at my notes. As you guys know, I'm sure you know I take a lot of notes there. Yeah, so they had a drive. They started at their own 38, second drive after the Colts scored. They go empty, 11 personnel, 16-yard gain to Cup. I think he makes someone miss too. He's looking really spry there too. Good for Cup. Like the routes are whatever, but the yak is better than I thought they would be from Cup. Anyway, 16 yards, then a 13-yarder to Shaheed out of shotgun, 11 personnel. We got 29 yards on 2 passes. And they go under center, 4-yard run to Ken. Under center, toss to Ken for 2 yards, which I think Sundell just whiffs on the block. And then 3rd and 4, I'm like, cool. I think they went no huddle this whole time too. I'm like, great. You're in 11 personnel. You found a rhythm. Boom. You're on the ball. You're rolling. Great. And then 3rd and 4, a shotgun run, -1, field goal. What? What are we doing? We doing here? You know? And that was that particular sequence really pissed me off because I was just like, I've seen that Anthony Bradford power play where Anthony comes across the field and has to like set the block. I've seen that not work all year. I think it worked one time last week against Atlanta, but I'm seeing it not work. So I'm like, why are you running the plays that don't work? You got other runs. I just watched you run them on this play, or this drive. So like, it's just stuff like that. It's not even that the numbers are always bad because if Shaq and Ken have had some efficient games, but it just feels like the runs are the bad plays, and it just shouldn't feel like that. You know, I'm looking at this other drive they had, like their first drive. Yeah, 3-yard run under center, 12 personnel, under center, 9-yard, toss it to Ken, lose 2 yards. Then looks like it was 3rd and 9, illegal shift, short of the stick. Like, you know what I mean? Just, it's like, it feels like they have to overcome their run game. And you shouldn't have to do that. That's probably the best way I can put that.
Fair.
Is going to be the starting quarterback for the Colts tomorrow. How much should I put down on a bet that as soon as D-Law or Big Cat hits him, Phillips going to turn into dust like Thanos just snapped his fingers? And the other question I have isn't Seahawks related, but Mike, I need to know where you got that dope Kraken hat with Mount Rainier on it. Let me know, man. Love the show. Keep doing what you guys do. Thanks.
I'll make this one quick before we get to the rest of the show. I think the question is referring to this hat right here. I'm putting it in the. This is the Black History Month Kraken hat from I think 2023. It says "Hockey is for everyone" there on the side. You know, Kraken are big on equality over there. Good for them. Have not watched the Kraken game this year, but their gear is fire. So, shout out to the Kraken. Also, I can't believe that they didn't sack Phillip Rivers.
Yeah, that was impressive.
I just can't believe that.
That was crazy. Not gonna lie. So that's why I left that question in there about Phillip Rivers, because he got hit a few times and he got up. Good for him. But to not get a sack, I mean, they did get a sack, but that was because he fell, got up, rolled
That
around.
was not a sack. That's not a sack.
Not a sack.
I get what you're saying, but yeah.
On the stat sheet, it's considered a sack. But to Mike's point, no one beat a lineman. There was no. They didn't get any sacks in that regard. They got a give up play, rolling around the dirt. He's down. Cool. That was kind of disappointing for this defense that has been good at getting after the quarterback all season. So to have a game where they don't, especially when they do such a solid job in the second half and stopping the run, might be a little bit concerning, especially what they got to face on Thursday. But I imagine just because, as you mentioned, Mike, they didn't know what Phillip could do. They were trying to figure it out as they went. They were like, damn, he can't really throw far, but he ended up throwing a touchdown because he was able to see exactly what the Seahawks were doing, a little cover 2 man, and you send a crosser, and Josh Jobe just can't get across the field quick enough. Touchdown. So it was a trial and error for the Seahawks defense. And it's unfortunate because, yeah, you would think that Phillip Rivers would not be getting off the turf after a sack, but they didn't get to him on Sunday in that regard. They did hit him a few times, and he got right back up, but not to record a sack. It's kind of a bummer for that defense there.
Yeah. Although, to your point about they got one, it's not a real sack. However, it did go to Nicky Manwari. So when people are looking at the Rookie of the Year voting, they will see now he has 2.5, at least 2.5 sacks. Not that that should like really count because he didn't do nothing, but it will, because not everyone will remember that. By January, when everyone's voting, you're just gonna look, oh wow, this Nicky Manwari kid had X amount of sacks. So maybe it'll help close the gap between him and that Schlesinger guy in Cleveland.
All right, let's go to Instagram for our first question. It comes from Ed Prince. Fellas, I have tried with Sam Darnold, but he's not the guy. What do the Seahawks need to do to get a QB that's more than a substitute teacher?
Oh man, I can feel, even though I don't. He said his name was Ed.
Yeah,
I can't hear Ed's voice, but I can hear Ed's voice through you. I can hear the like, dog, I'm good on this Sam Darnold guy. I'm not there yet, but you know, I get it. Nothing about me has changed on Sam. I've been. This is it. This is what you get. This is what they signed. I knew this would be a thing. What can they do to get? I mean, you have to be bad. That's the answer. You have to be really bad to get quarterbacks that are, the guy. I mean, look around the league. There's not that many. How many teams got a guy right now, Christian? Let's look at what they did to get the guy. Let's just go through real quick, rapid fire. Look, I'm looking here. Look, let's do this. I'm looking at all of the AFC teams in the playoffs right now. Denver, first round pick, top. What was Bo, the 10th pick or something like that, 12th. Yeah. So you got Bo. The Patriots, Drake was the third pick. Yes, Trevor Lawrence. They're 10-4. He was the first pick. Pittsburgh right now has Aaron Rodgers, but they have Aaron Rodgers because they haven't been bad enough to go draft someone, and they're basically in QB purgatory. So Chargers, Herbo was the, I don't know, 5th or 6th pick or something like that. Josh Allen was a top 10 pick. CJ Stroud was the number 2 pick. Like you have to be bad, and then you got teams like the Ravens and the Dolphins are somehow mathematically still in it. Their guy was a top 10 pick. The Ravens actually got lucky. They got a guy with the 32nd pick. So it is tough. And I go to the NFC. NFC is a little funkier. They traded for Stafford. The Rams are number 1. The Bears are number 2, but they had the number 1 overall pick. The Eagles, do they have their guy? Ooh, hot take from the Seahawks Man to Man pod. Let's see. Baker, number 1 pick. Let's see. Yeah, but even then, he had to flame out somewhere else. Yeah, Niners lucked into Purdy, and then you had Love was picked like 26 or something. So the NFC is not as clean, but then it's like, how many teams in the NFC have a guy? So it's tough. It's tough. I think Sam can maybe get there, but I think that anyone who thought the first couple months was like the guy you were going to get throughout the year was being silly. Like football is long. If Sam was that guy the whole time, he'd be with the Vikings. There's a reason that he was available. But yeah, Ed, you gotta lose. Yeah, lose bad. But from what I've been hearing from my guys who watch college ball, this is not the year to lose. Not the year to win a QB. For real. It's that Cuban guy who won the Heisman, and that's it, maybe. Because the Oregon guy's probably going back, South Carolina guy's going back, Archie's going back, or Arch, whatever. Yeah, so I mean, it doesn't seem great. So this is not the year to lose. So keep Sam and develop Milroe, I guess is the real answer.
And you don't even want to take a look at the 2026 free agents for quarterbacks. Like you're thinking, oh, maybe you can go pay somebody. No. How about Kenny Pickett? Anyone?
Didn't they not score today? Right? Did they score when I wasn't looking? I stopped watching, so
I don't know if they scored, but I just thought, maybe the 2026 free agency class. I went and looked, and
no, they lost 31-0.
Yeah,
they lost 31. Oh my god, they had 75 yards of offense. Oh, Pete's gonna get fired. Anyway, not a Raider. He's out of there.
We can go to the next question. The point is, to Mike's point, there's nothing out there. So develop Sam. He gets better, plays much better, skate better.
Yeah.
Next one is from Derek James. I'm very curious if this is a bad day for the offense, or should fans be concerned for this team in the playoffs if they're not getting pick sixes or kick returns?
Yeah, the field position game today was interesting. I'm gonna look at these. I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but just like I'm looking at the Seahawks where all their drives started. Listen to where the drive started. This is the Seahawks in order. Their own 10, their own 38, which is the drive I read out earlier. Their own 15, their own 18, their own 22, their own 29, their own 7, their own 20, their own 6, and then their own 37, which ended up being the game-winning drive. So I mean, their field position was not great. Look how many times I said inside their own 20. Meanwhile, the Colts literally never started inside their own 20 and only started inside their own 30 once. And that was the first drive. Twice. Twice. They had another one. But yeah, I mean, the field position game was funky. So they did not take advantage of that. They had the lack of explosives is why they never flipped the field. But yeah, I'm concerned about the offense. I've been concerned. I've been called a little bit of a Debbie Downer when they've won because of that. But it's because football, while the results do matter, you watch enough ball, you realize some stuff has predictive power. One of the things I think that has a lot of predictive power is the stat of success rate. I think that's an important one, but also just the eye test. I'm not gonna speak for Chris, but for me, if I see a team that don't run the ball that well, but as the year goes on, I get less and less confident in you because I've talked to enough defensive-minded people around the league to know once you're one-handed like that, you become so much easier to beat and game plan for. So you do have these games in December where it's like, dog, how did we not score any points? Well, it's like because there's a thing you can't do. Either you can't throw it or you can't run it. One of the two. Like that Daniel Jones Giants team from 2022. They couldn't throw it. So after a while, it was like, here's 10 guys in the box on Saquon. Daniel got to throw it to somebody. Well, then he won't. So we're fine. And that team ended up starting really hot, I think 6-2, and finished like 9-7-1 or something like that, or 9-8 or whatever. Maybe they got to 10 wins. Doesn't matter. The point is they had a thing they couldn't do, so they were screwed. And I knew it from when the Seahawks played them in like week 8 or whatever. Because like there's a thing they can't do. It's throw it. The Seahawks have the thing they can't do. It's run it. Whatever it is, we have a thing you can't do. I will not believe in you. You got to prove to me that you can do the other thing.
Perfect example, Mike. The 2023 season for the Seahawks. You know what they couldn't stop? Couldn't stop the run. You know how every week we said, oh, maybe it can get better? It just got to a point where it's like, I don't expect them to stop them. And you know what game? I don't know why it took me this long to realize it, but I'll never forget when Pittsburgh won that game and Najee Harris just went bananas. But that whole season, they hadn't been able to stop the run. So it wasn't like, oh, I'm surprised. It was just like, well, I mean, this is what happens when you can't stop the run. Teams just run it. It doesn't matter. So to your point, Mike, come Thursday, I'm not thinking the Seahawks are going to run for 100 yards. It's probably going to just get really bad, and they're going to try to throw to JSN, and the Rams are going to be very aware of that. So we'll see if Sam can deliver, because that's going to be more pressure on him without having a run game. Is he going to have turnovers? That's another big issue that he's had. He's been struggling. He didn't have any turnovers on Sunday. Luckily, the ball bounced out of bounds when he did get hit on trying to scramble for a first. But those are things that I'm thinking of when you talked about they haven't been able to run the football this season, and you're going into week 16. I'm not expecting them to be able to run it on Thursday Night Football on a short week. I'm just going to be honest with you. Kind of what I brought up the point about 2 years ago, they couldn't stop the run. It didn't just miraculously get better. We expected them to improve. They never did. And their second to last game of the season, they lose 30-23 because Najee Harris is just running through them, and he had 2 touchdowns on the ground for $120. So that's something to look at regarding this offense. And
Can you read Jalen Warren's line too from that game, by the way? Because it was not just. I have it if you want it.
Go ahead and go ahead.
So yes, Najee had 122 yards and 2 touchdowns on averaging 4.5 a carry on 27 attempts. That's bad. Jalen Warren had 75 yards on 13 carries in a tug. Like, they just ran all over them. And Pittsburgh had 468 yards of offense in that game, and that game basically cooked their playoff hopes because they lost control of their fate and they needed other teams to help them. So yes, I'm glad it's the same thing on defense. If you have a thing you can't stop, I don't believe in you either. For me this year, that's Buffalo. Me and Chris and 9 dudes trying to pull their cars out of the flood right now could run on the Buffalo Bills. So the Bills aren't going to go anywhere because they can't stop the run. Not a Bills pod, but and they fit the description as well on the other side of the ball.
This next one is from Plantum Menace. Do you think the Seahawks were keeping too much in the pocket regarding that they play on Thursday Night Football? You saw a lot of the defense with 2 deep safeties the whole time, and it's not like the Colts had a credible deep threat aside from, I don't know, Jonathan Taylor.
No, good question. No is the answer. Mike McDonald doesn't work like that. Coaches don't generally work like that. Mike McDonald, he truly is like, what do we got to do to win today? And we're going to do that. What are we going to do to win this down from this hash, this down and distance? That's his thought process. And I believe in that. He believes in that. That makes sense. The Seahawks defend the run out of two high safeties. They've been really good at it. That's what they do. They went into this game thinking, let's just be really good at the stuff we do. And when they're not going to say this, but they're like, when we figure out how far Phillip can throw the ball, we'll adjust accordingly. And they did. Like in the second half, they were fine. Let me look at the Colts yards per play here in the second half. Oh boy, that was yucky. Oh, this was bad. Phillip threw for 38 yards and a pick in the second half. Like they shut it down. What did Jonathan Taylor run for in the second half? 30 yards on 9 carries. Yeah, that's 3.3 a pop with only 2 first downs. So like they were fine. I think on offense was the bigger thing. They were trying to run their stuff and just could not. So strange. And you know what I'm really concerned with the offense. I don't expect every team to start fast every game. That's dumb. But generally, like even when you have a backup quarterback in there, that opening script is usually pretty reliable. Whether it's a rookie or a backup, you see teams like whether it's like a rookie or whoever, the opening script tends to be okay. Seahawks opening script stink right now. They do. And Mike McDonald talked about, I'm glad he talked about it in the presser. Again, I wasn't there, but when he mentioned it, he was like, yeah, that's a few weeks. He was like, that's a few games now where our openers are not great. I'm like, yeah, I was in there to dap him up. Like, no, Mike, they're bad. The other team is beating Kubiak and your front and your quarterback and your receivers and they are. Seahawks openers are not great. They gotta fix that. I feel like if they fix that, they'll be okay. The whole half doesn't have to be great. If they can just maybe get their opener right, I mean like those first 15 plays or so that you script, then they can be okay. But right now they're just like that Falcons game was like awful. They ran 2 screen passes to start the game. That was the dumbest thing I've ever seen from a Seahawks team. Why are you running screens at all? But to literally start the game? Like what? You practiced all week and did that? That's just, I understand. And today they're just bad. Yeah, I think they need to fix their openers. I don't know what they need to do to fix that. It depends on the opponent. But yeah, that is a no bueno. That is part of why they look so rough on offense to start games, because their openers, their opening script is like just the other team is super ready for everything they try to do.
This next one is from Jeremiah. Can you actually win a Super Bowl and be booty on third down and also in the red zone? If I'm not mistaken, the Seahawks were one of, well, I think they actually had a second one, but they were terrible in third down. I want to say it was like 2 of 13, something really gross.
Yeah, I can pull it up. Give me a sec. They were 2 of 13. One of those is a spike, I think.
One,
So 2 of like a failed one. So like 2 of
yep,
12
12. Mm-hmm.
would be the real number. Which is still bad. It's not much better than 2 of 13. To be honest. Let's look at their season numbers on the red zone here. I was going to put them in my story, but I was pressed for time. Seahawks are 16th in red zone efficiency. 57%. That's not great. They are right behind the Bears, right ahead of the Cardinals. They're behind. Wow, look at these teams they're behind in red zone efficiency. So here's they're 16th, right? So here's 11 through 15 in red zone efficiency. Starting from 11 going to 15. Falcons, Vikings, Chiefs, Jags. Oh, Bears. That's the last one. So you got some playoff teams in there, Jags and Bears, but it's not good company to beat. Like, how are you not better than the Vikings? Like, that's not great. Goal to go efficiency, they are 19th. Oh, wow. Behind the Browns. Browns 18th. That's probably worse. And let's see. Let's go to third down conversion rate. They are converting 38%. The league average is 39.3. They are 19th, right behind the Commanders and right above the Panthers. Like, these are not good numbers. Can we continue to nerd out for a second here? Because I think this will help me answer the question. Throwing a lot of numbers at you guys. I'm sorry. But so here's the issue. The Seahawks are 13th in third down conversion rate on third and short. That's 1, 2, 3 yards. So the 13th there, they're above league average. They are number 1 in the league and third in medium. That is 4 to 6 yards. So on third and long, which you don't want to be in, but every team has to be in it at some point, they're converting, oh, dear God, Chris, 13.8%. That's last. There you go. That is bringing the number down. It's that number right there. They're last by a good margin too. Like 31st is the Falcons, and they're at 17.3. So the difference between 17.3 and 13.8, that's a pretty big jump in efficiency. And you look at the teams at the top. Yeah, the Packers are number 1 at 41.7%. The average is 24%. Like, these guys are way below the average.
Jesus.
Yeah, no, there's the answer there. So to the questioner's point, can you do all that and win a Super Bowl? Hell no. It's not funny, but hell no. Hell no. If you get that third and long number is disgusting. They're 11 of 80. Third down and long. Third and long is 7 or more yards, by the way. I didn't say that. But yeah, hell no. I think those red zone numbers can get better. But yeah, that third and long number, you're cooked. You got no shot. But here's a good thing before we move on to the next question. In terms of average distance to travel on third down, the Seahawks are 11th at 6.7. And 11th in a good way. Like the Rams are first at 6 yards. So they're averaging about a third and medium, which is, and they're the best team in the league on third and medium. So I think they'll be okay. But yeah, third and long is a death sentence. I didn't realize it was that bad.
Well, this is from Michael Roper. What does Kubiak need to do to unlock the red zone offense?
Oh, that's simple. Run the ball. You can't run the ball. There's your problem. Let me pull up some numbers here. I'm on fire today with the numbers, Chris. I love this. Let's go with offensive EPA per play on drives in the red zone. And the precise play is specifically a run. Oh, wow. Boom. Seahawks are actually top 10 running the ball in the red zone. There you go. It doesn't feel like it at all. I had to check my filter. I might have typed in some BS to get to, because it don't feel like that. They are 19th in success rate behind the Jets. That's actually probably a better number. At least one that matches what we feel Because when I watch these guys run the ball, I'm like, that doesn't work. Also, guys, if you're like me and you kind of really want Ken Walker to have success, either because you like Ken or you have him in your fantasy team or both, I explained Kubiak, I think like last week. I say, yo, you go to Zach a lot in the red zone. Is there something about his running style that just makes him the guy? He's like, yeah. And then he went on to give a longer answer. But the point is, you're hoping for Ken to score in the red zone. Nope. Give it up. He's not. And I think that is going to come back to bite them, even though Zach does run the ball well in the red zone. But yeah, they got to fix that fast because they're not running it well enough, I don't think, to be playing championship ball on offense.
You don't think, Mike? You find me someone that thinks they are running well, and I'll give them $1,000 if they can prove to me how and why you think they're running the football well. Talking about like you on a boat on by yourself, man. You got a whole barge full of people that would join you with that comment.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, don't throw no salt on it. You 1,000% right. They cannot run the football effectively. We've been asking this for 16, going on 16 weeks. Oh, can they find some consistency here in the run games? They haven't stacked a positive run game this season.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Here we go. I filtered it to play in the red zone. Yes. Rusher position, running back. And yeah, they're 20th in success rate on running back runs in the red zone. That feels right. Now, they are still 7th in EPA on those runs. So I think Zach's touchdowns are really helping that number. That'd be my guess. But yeah, I mean, we're a team in the red zone, but that's how you get better there. You got to be able to run it.
This next one we got two. I'll combine them. It's from RCar5C and Dear Sister. By the time you read this, we'll just leave that at that. Why did Sundell start over Olu? And do you think it would have been better if Olu was in there instead of Sundell?
I don't know the answer to the first question, but I really think it's dangerous to, without a real big deep dive, attribute anything in the run game to one lineman. Really, they have to work together, and it's just not just the line. When they do all these like 12 personnel under center, condensed splits from the receivers, like everyone is involved in the run game. So I just got to be real careful there. I don't usually, and that's whether you got someone like Penei Sewell or Jason Kelsey, like even the best of the best. I just try not to put too much on one lineman in the run game. Like there's a rhythm to it. Everyone has to work together. I guess if you are going to do that, the one person to maybe put too much on is the center, because the center makes the points. But without knowing all of the duties and of each play call, it's just dangerous to do that. I didn't think they were like killing it all of a sudden with Olu in there. I thought they found a little bit of a rhythm with Ken as the lead guy, but they pivoted away from that. I saw Zach out there again. It's not Zach's fault or Ken's fault. They're just not blocking for them, like at all. It's just god awful stuff. So I don't think the center, not to say center doesn't matter, but I don't think flipping it back to Olu is going to fix everything. Like their run game is just disjointed. If you guys watch Cooper Kupp's, watch his press conferences every once in a while. I don't quote Cooper much because he gives a lot of run-on sentences, but he talks a lot about the details. And I really feel like without him saying explicitly, he's talking about the run game. Their details are just not there. It's not, and until they're there, it's just hard to really believe in that facet of the game. It really is tough.
This next one comes from Mark Petrie. What did you think of the offensive game plan and Kubiak's play calling?
Chris, I watched the film, but here I go, sound like a coach. The thing that I did watch in real time, I was like, why aren't they running any play action passes? I didn't have the number. I do have it all in front of me because I charted it all. And I was going back at halftime after I grabbed some popcorn and, I was like, hey, why don't I have PA with a circle, which is how I chart it in real time? Why don't I have that with anywhere? I was like, the only play action pass I have was the one Jax dropped. And I was like, that's it. I was like, where's the play action? Well, what do you know? Good old Kubiak. Love that guy. He caught 8 play action passes in the second half there. I tweeted those numbers. Let me pull those back up here. Sam Darnold on 9 play action dropbacks, according to True Media. He was 5 of 8 for 92 yards. I think that's 11 and a half yards per attempt. So that's good. That would win you MVP. He also had a 4-yard scramble for a first down. Only one of those dropbacks was in the first half. Again, when Jax dropped. One of the other ones was a Brady Russell drop. So he has 3 incompletions and 2 are drops. So he had basically had one real incompletion, I think, to AJ Barner. So I just really don't understand that part of the game plan. I just don't get why you would. It feels like remember the first game, the year. It was like, why aren't they running any play action? And it felt like that again. I was like, dude, what's up? Because it was working today. It was working.
Yeah.
And it would have worked in the first half if Jax caught the ball, but it's like the last thing I'm ever going to do is like, oh, Jax dropped it. Don't throw it to him again. No, I'm going to run that same play again, which I think they did. And he caught it.
Yeah. It was a third
Same
down, if
play.
I'm not mistaken. Or maybe not, but to your point, he caught it.
Yeah, it was. It was like 3rd and 3. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. It's like, yo, just run it again. Same play. It was so confusing. That part, I have to watch the game to really have critiques, but that stood out in real time. Guys, don't forget, this offense is supposed to be wide zone, play action. Like that's supposed to be the scheme. I'm watching this and I'm like, did Grubb sneak in again? Like, it just feels very funky sometimes, you know. The offense is still good. It's good offense, but it just don't look right. It doesn't look right. They need to look better. It just doesn't have the look that it's supposed to.
Travis, he asks, slow starts and struggling offense. What is the primary thing to adjust on a short week to keep pace with the Rams offense, you think?
Well, first off, make sure Charles is okay. Because as Chris pointed out to me before we were recording, Charles did limp off. And did not come back in the game after he got hurt on the game-winning kick. And yeah, did not come back. Hopefully by the time this is out, Mike McDonald has either cleared that up or something. But that's number one. Because without Charles, I think they're in some trouble. He's been very reliable over there. Yeah, I think the other thing is you have to bottle up, I think, what you do well and try to just run as many variations of that you can. You know, it reminds me a little bit of like some of those Rams offenses with Jared Goff and I think Philly's offense in like 2022 and 2023. It really didn't feel like those offenses. Remember that Philly team in 2023? They weren't great, but they started off like 10-1 or something before they came here and lost. And they stand out because they were very simple. They had like 4 plays they ran really well, you know, but they were able to just make them work because they were executed the hell out of them. They had counter punches built in off of them. Like when Chris and I were doing this show in like 2018, 2019, 2017, we were watching Sean McVay run like, I swear he was running like 5 plays against these guys, and it was working every time. That's it. He was getting the outside runs to Gurley, play action to Robert Woods and Cup, and the Seahawks could do nothing about it. Pete couldn't do nothing but fire people. That was it. That was it. It's like, we can't stop this guy. And then he hired Shane Waldron. He was like, can't beat him, join him. You know, that was it. Chris, you remember that game in 2021? I think it's the game where Russ broke his finger. The Rams ran a concept called Dagger.
Oh, yeah.
No lie, like 20 times.
That's all they ran.
The entire game. Same concept.
17-yard dig route behind the linebacker, and they just couldn't figure it out. It was unbelievable. It was like, wow. So you guys are just not gonna drop your corner, your linebacker into that zone. You're just gonna play action and do it, huh? Yeah, Robert Woods had like 10 catches for 90 yards. Cooper Kupp, 8 catches. You know, that's all they did. And then they wanted to run it. So yeah, that was I wasn't watching film at that time like I needed to, but I'm sure if I went back and watched it, it'd be like, wow, they really just clicked A and ran that play over and over again if this was Madden.
Yeah, so here's the box score from that. Yeah. Robert Woods, and this is the game Russ broke his finger. Robert Woods had 12 catches for 150 yards.
Oh,
Coop had 7 for 92, and then Deshaun Jackson had 1 for 68, because how that concept works is someone runs a through route, like through the defense to pull the safeties, and then the dig route, the in cut, comes in underneath them. So you
So-
pull the safeties, linebackers don't drop, and you just hit that window in the middle. And just one time he threw the go ball, Jax, and he caught. The other time he just ran the same concept. And I think that's what the Seahawks need to do. Find with it's really these play action passes, but find those, dress them up all cute and pretty so they look different with different alignments and different personnel, but basically just spam that. It was like Chris, he plays video games, I don't. Press A. Find different ways to press A. That's how you get this offense rolling.
This next one is from RG Seattle. People were worried earlier in the year that Kubiak could be coaching for another team next season. My question is, should Seahawk fans even want him coaching for this team next season?
Oof, that's harsh. I'm not that far. Same thing with my man. Who was that? Ed, who was out on Sam.
Yeah.
I'm not. He has a little. I feel you though. If I was a fan, I'd be like, yo. I think Diana Rossini reported in like her what I'm hearing column. She listed the candidates that the Giants are considering. It was like Marcus Freeman, a Notre Dame guy, the Packers, DC. I think Cliff Kingsbury, and she had Kubiak in there. Now I was busy. I was with Chris on Saturday. We watched some high school ball, so I didn't actually like tweet that out. But I remember thinking that like the Giants are gonna hire this dude. That's weird. And now I'm like, no, they shouldn't do that. But I don't think Kubiak's bad. I just think that what we're seeing is why I thought the Seahawks would win like 9 games, 10 at best, because I thought the offense would be mid. Because I thought they hired a decent coordinator. They got a quarterback who I thought was like decent. And they had what I thought was going to be like a decent O-line. They actually, I think, have a good O-line. But yeah, I mean, I think at a time where everyone, it feels like it's just chasing the new job and there's a lot of this shuffling in the offseason, the retention of your play caller and your quarterback, if you can get that year to year, I do think there's just immense value in that. I think that's why the Niners can function the way they do, is because they keep their play caller. Brock and Kyle are locked in. Stafford and McVay, Andy and Pat, the Bengals coach who they may fire. Probably
Zach
should.
Taylor.
Yeah, probably should fire him. But let's say they keep him. You got him, and then you got Burrow. Like when you the Bills guy, Joe Brady, I think is his name. Like keeping him with Josh, like there's just value in that. You grow, you find counter punches to the things that teams are scheming. Like that does matter. I think so. I'd be, no matter how the season ends, I think I would be. Actually, Chris, let me catch myself. How I think the season will end, I would keep Sam and Clint together. I mean, I double down on that right now because it could get bad. But I would keep them together. I do think there's so much value in continuity. So yeah, if another team hires Clint, I don't think they would, but if they do, I think that is a big deal. You know, I think keeping Sam and Clint together is how you really have an elite offense in 2026.
This is from Joey. Do you think the Seahawks are not running the same plays, or team just got the tape on us? What do you think the reason for the struggles of late could be?
I mean, everybody has tape on everybody. It's execution, you know. The other team knows what you're good at. Maybe, perhaps more importantly, they know what you're not good at. You know, like Mike McDonald has all this tape, all these tendencies. You know, he knows how to be calculated and aggressive. If you notice, the Seahawks don't really get burned on blitzes that often. You know, the main thing the Seahawks get burned on with their aggressiveness is screens. That's really it. And even that's every team, because you don't ever play the screen. You play the play call and then react to it. So at least according to like talking to like some D linemen about that. So it really is, can you be better than the other guy? And if you can't, can you confuse the other guy? Because that was really the thing with those, when the Niners and when McVay and Shanahan came into this division, they didn't come in here and just have like the best O lines right away and everything. They were confusing the hell out of these defenses. They were misdirection all over the place, wide open guys, and it wasn't complex. Another game that speaks to the same point that Chris and I were making earlier. The last time the Seahawks played in the playoffs, no lie, I think Shanahan ran like 5 plays. Like he ran the same play to Ayuk. In cut. It went nuts. The Seahawks couldn't stop it. Maybe they dressed it up a little different here and there. They were running the same stuff. Like how can you dress this? How can you confuse your opponent? The Niners do a good job of it by using the same personnel. They get in 21 personnel, at least they used to at that time. And they'd have Juice Check, Kittle, Ayuk, and they had another receiver. Who's the other receiver? Was it your boy Juan?
Debo.
Oh, Debo. Thank you. Debo. And they have Debo, and with those guys in 21 personnel, they could just run anything. They could have McCaffrey run it, Debo run it, the fullback run it. They could put all those guys in empty and throw it, and they could just do everything. Same thing when the Rams used to only run 11 personnel. There's like out of this personnel with Brandon Cooks, Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, Gurley, and whoever Higbee maybe was a tight end at the time, they could just run anything from that same personnel grouping. Like they would, because they could just dress it up and confuse you. But really, they were just running all the same stuff. The Seahawks have not got to that point. It feels like they're still trying to do a little bit of everything. Chris, you notice now they're running the pistol. When they start doing that, they're running the pistol the last couple of weeks. It feels like they're trying to be good at a little bit of everything to keep defenses on their toes, put stuff on tape, which is great. That's fine. But you got to put stuff on tape that they're worried about. And right now, I just don't think they're doing that. They're just like, if we guard number 11, we straight. Not to say that it worked. They keep winning, so obviously that's not that simple. But a good team, which they have not played in over a month, a good team will figure that out.
This next one is from Pratik. Would you say the inability to run against light boxes is a red flag?
I don't think the box count. They just can't run against anything. Actually, see, I feel like I should be careful with this. I don't want to say that they just can't run. Their run game actually is not even statistically. I don't even think it's that bad. Let me look at it. Seahawks run game, rusher position, running back, EPA per rush. Oh, never mind, Chris. I lied. They're bad. This is bad. His number is bad. 24th in rush EPA.
Is that including today's performance?
Yeah, True Media is all updated. That's why I used them. Yeah. 21st in success rate on running back carries. Yeah, this is bad. I don't like yards per attempt, but they're bad in that too. Let's see. Percentage of runs against 8-man boxes. They're at 50%. So they're getting stacked boxes and running in the walls. That's not good. But also the Seahawks. Wow. Yeah, here's the bad number, Chris. This is the one. This is percentage of runs that go for a negative or go for 0 yards. They have the 5th highest rate in the league. The teams above them, Raiders, Browns, Chargers, Eagles. That's it. So I think, but regardless of the boxes, and I can probably filter this. I can probably filter this out. Defenders in the box, no more than 6. So light boxes. They're still 3rd in negative runs or runs that go backwards, even against light boxes. So that's why I said the box don't really matter. Whether it's light, whether it's heavy, they're just not running it super well. They're not running it well enough to scare the opponent. And that's really all that was going to matter on Thursday. Can you do that? Because if you leave if you leave Sam sitting back there against that Rams defense, whether you have Charles or not, you're in trouble. You got to be able to run it.
This next one is from Eric Wall. Why can't the Seahawks play in the first half the way they play in the second?
I actually don't even think they're playing super well in these second halves. They're protecting better in the second half. That's good. I don't think Sam has been sacked in the second half last few games. So I think that they're protecting better. They're figuring out their plans. So that's good. I think that's actually very encouraging because if you don't protect Sam, you're cooked for sure. But I also think what they're really good at, Chris, is 2-minute drills. It really feels like one of those. Remember those old Russ teams where Russ would just always act like, yeah, I want to go hurry up more often. And then like Daryl Bevel or who's the OC after him? Shoddy. Shoddy be like, yeah, but no, like we can't do that all the time. That's what these guys are. They're like, I feel like when they get in hurry up mode, they're cooking. But when it's like early down, run your stuff, it's like play action or bust. I really do feel like they got to lean more into play action. That's where it really sticks out for me. Because let me see what they are in play action. I'm in a numbers groove today. Shout out to True Media. You should see if they should sponsor the pod. Get us some t-shirts or something like that. All right, EPA per play, play action, filter. Yes. Ooh, all right. Where do you think the Seahawks rank, Chris, in EPA per play when they use play action?
Top 7, probably like 6 or 7.
They're third, behind only the Lions and Cowboys. And then Patriots and Bills round out the top 5. So there you go. Like, there's a thing they do. It's play action, but I feel like they're just too busy. Like, all right, let's establish the run first and do it. Well, no, you don't have time for that. Too many tosses to Charbonnet and Zach and Ken that don't go nowhere. So yeah, it's not. I don't even think they're playing that much better in second halves, to be honest. I just think they're protecting better, and their opponents haven't been very good. That's why I feel like you guys are all like, okay, playoffs, Rams game, because you recognize that who have they beaten the last few weeks? Yeah, they're a bunch of bad teams. And Chris and I were talking before we recorded. They've played 3 teams that are in the NFC playoff field right now. Lost to them all. Like you have to prove yourself on Thursday. This was good. You beat up on the old guy. Do it on Thursday. And how do you do that? You've got to have better openers. You've got to run the ball better. You've got to have better play action. Use play action. That's it. That's what you guys all watch the game Thursday. Look for that. Don't even care about nothing else. Play action, run. There you go. Can you do those 2 things? Guarantee that the answer is yes, you win the game.
This next one is from Shiv Ramdas. Your thoughts on the Seahawks outcoaching the Colts by building the offensive game plan around Jason Myers?
Hey man, shout out to Jason Myers, man. Also shout out to the defense as well, man. I do think they played well. I thought they scored more than I thought they would, the Colts. But then I looked at the numbers. Like the Colts did not play well offensively. This was not good. They didn't run it well. They didn't throw it well. 5 of 13, 3.7, 5 of 13 on third down. 215 yards of offense. Like you're not going to win any game doing that. Like even the Seahawks, as much as we're talking about their offense, they had 314 yards of offense and average 5.3 yards per play. Like they actually moved the ball, and the Colts did not. So as much as it was J-My today, like I know we didn't spend much time talking about the defense today, but like those guys are playing good ball over there. I mean, the leading receiver today was this Amir Abdullah-Cat, 32 yards
on 2
That's
of the
it.
same routes, an arrow route or an angle route. How do you want to call it? Poor
same
Ernest
same
Jones.
route.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough cover there because he's like the little fast guy, So that's a tough cover. But that's it. That's all they had, and even then, you ran it twice, and that was it. You couldn't do nothing else after that.
Rumpelstiltskin. The defensive line looked slow. What do you think was up with that?
Oh no, I thought the defense played really good. The runs without getting too schemy, maybe we do this in like we're not gonna do standout plays this week, but at least not from the Colts game because of the short week. But those shotgun runs, those are really hard to defend for the D line with those pullers and everything, and like you can shoot the gap, but like when they got the puller to come hit you, like it's tough. But I looked it up. Jonathan Taylor had like 5 runs that either went backwards, gained 1 yard, or gained exactly 0. Like or actually he might even had more than that, but he was not getting anywhere against these guys. It may have felt like that, particularly in the first half, but I mean they bottled that up really well. I thought like this was not a good rushing game by the Colts. They had the ball for a long time, the Colts did. So it felt like they were like taking it to the Seahawks. But that's because they were trying to play keep away. And they did a good job executing that. But I thought the front played really solid. I thought Nicky Moore played a good game today. I thought the secondary was really solid. I mean, there was nothing really open. This was like one of the few games that the opposing offense felt comfortable throwing at Job the most. I haven't really seen that this week. They were like, that's our matchup, number 29. I mean, they won a few times on that too. That's the first time I've seen a team do that, where it's like, yep, 29's our guy, But yeah, the Seahawks they built their offensive game plan around their defense and J-My. That's how they did it. That was good stuff, Shout out to Mike McDonald, the most creative game plan I've ever seen.
This next one is from Ryan Turner. What lesson can be learned from Sunday's result to get into the postseason?
And here's the thing. I'm gonna expand on Ryan's question for the sentiment of it. Here's the thing, Chris. They're not just fighting for like get into the playoffs. The 1 seed is on the line on Thursday. The 1 seed, basically, like looking at these standings, let me pull them back up. Let me pull these NFC standings. Yeah, this is basically for the 1 seed right here. So the Seahawks win. They're 12-3. Rams fall 11-4. That's huge. You split there. Your conference record goes to 7-3. Your division record improves to something good. I will say when I load it. They'll be 3-2 in the division. Like, you got a real viable path there to 14-3. And to get into the Super Bowl from the 5 seed versus the 1 seed, maybe at some point for a story, I'll look up the numbers and the difference between the two. Maybe I'll have Mike Sando help me out there historically. But it's that's your season there. I don't care how good a team is on the road. It's just hard to win 3 playoff games on the road. It's hard to win 3 playoff games in general, but all of them on the road too. I mean, you're just asking for it to have no margin for error, and this is not the type of team that can operate with just the thinnest of thin margins for error. So I mean, you got to play a full complementary game here. Because Chris, do we agree that the Rams are the best team in the league?
Yeah. Yeah, I would say so. I think they, yeah. Yeah, yep, yes.
Yeah, I mean, and you got to play complete. That's it. I'm looking right now here. I'm trying to see how many teams rank in the top 5 in points per drive on offense and on defense. And the answer is
Did the Broncos win
no.
tonight? They did. So Broncos
Yes.
12-2. They have an argument, but I would still take probably the Rams. I think
As much as
Stafford just pushes them over the edge.
yeah, you won't catch me believing in a Bo Nix led offense, buddy. I'll tell you that right now. That defense is real, though. That defense is real.
Yes.
Yeah, the Rams rank top 5 in points per drive. They're actually number 1, and they're 4th in points per drive on defense. The only team top 5 in both. I mean, the closest thing is the Patriots, who are 7th on offense, 8th on defense. Niners are 8th on offense, 12th on defense, quietly. The Chiefs, funky year they're having. They're 9th on offense and 11th on defense. Like, it's a good team. And the Seahawks are the only other team that's top 10 in both. 10th in offense, 2nd in defense. So the Seahawks, for all this, they have a good team, but they're going against arguably the best team in the league on Thursday. Now, whether they have Devontae, they probably won't. Chris sent me a video of how Devontae got hurt. That guy's not playing. So I can almost guarantee that. That looked awful. So he's not playing. So you're going against the most complete team without him. So maybe that's what you need. Maybe that's the margin there. Devontae only had 1 catch in the last game, but it went for a touchdown, and that mattered in the final score. So maybe that's what you need to beat them. But that's what's on the line here. You got to play a complete game if you want to get the easiest path to the Super Bowl.
This next one comes from Savir. Curious if you have Stafford's indoor-outdoor stat splits and if that may be an advantage for the Seahawks for Thursday.
I do. This took some research. I'm not going to read them all, but Stafford's on True Media, his splits are broken up into 3 categories: indoor, outdoor, and then retractable roof. Retractable roof is basically all of his games against the Cardinals. They got that funky setup there. And then a couple against the Cowboys, who have a retractable roof. However, Jerry Jones is insistent on having it open when the sun's up, so his offense cannot see, which is strange. But anyway, the gist of scanning these numbers is, now again, I won't read them all, but maybe I can DM you if you really want to see the screenshot or something. But basically, Stafford's the same guy. Indoor, outdoor, his touchdown percentage, drop back EPA, passer rating, sack rate, yards per attempt. It's all pretty steady, whether he plays indoors, outdoors, or at a retractable roof since he's been in the league in regular season games. The sample size, I think, is too small for playoffs for it to really matter. But yeah, he's the same guy. So the answer is no. that just playing outdoors is not the advantage. The advantage is probably not having Devontae Adams, because if you don't have him into the Rams, like, how many Colby Parkinson touches can you manufacture for real? Like, that's really the answer. Like, maybe a lot. Colby, from the numbers, say he was great today. I didn't watch the game, but that's the question for the Rams. Can they do that? I don't know. But that's your advantage. It's not Stafford playing outside. He is very good. It's just as good or bad, however you look at Stafford. He's the same guy. The advantage is not having number 17.
Holly asks, what is one word or phrase you'd use to sum up the Seahawks season so far, and what team would you most look forward to seeing go against Seattle in the postseason?
All right. Do you have a word? I'm torn on mine. I wrote some down in my notes.
I do. Unexpected. And you could use two things. I didn't expect the defense to be number one. I thought they would be top 5 for sure. I just didn't know they would be the best defense in the league, right behind the Texans or the however you want to flip it. That was like, wow. And then for this team to have 11 wins, I think Mike and I both had them maybe getting 10, and here they are with 11. And that was unexpected for me. I didn't think they'd do that, and they have done that. So that's what I would say for my one word about this team so far this season.
Mine is, I had a few. Maybe I'll share some of the ones I had later that I didn't use, but I'm going to go with conflicting, because in the 2024 season, I feel like where I landed on a different spectrum than a lot of fans is for the same reason. I feel like on one hand, you could be like, oh, they won 10 games. Well, great. And I was like, well, the team before them that got everyone fired won 9. So I was like, well, I viewed it through a different lens. I was coming in from a different place. And then this year, right, I thought they would probably win like 9. They've already won 11. So it's like, on one hand, I'm like, well, that's really surprising. That's really good. However, I have since adjusted my expectations for the team, I should say. And I just see the potential for a championship run. And now I'm starting to view each game through how likely that is. And you can tell by the questions you guys are asking, you're doing it too, which I feel okay doing it, right? And Mike McDonald is as well, with this process of results day. So I'm conflicted. And I think that scene I was painting in the locker room earlier kind of speaks to that, where I go to one side of the room and I'm like, oh, hey, how'd it go? And I'm like, oh, yeah, it was good, but man, we need to play way better. And then one of the sides like, yeah, death zone is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Sorry, I don't know who I was mimicking there, but it just feels different. Like even today, go listen to Ernest Jones' press conference today versus Sam's. They both came to the podium. They didn't feel like they played in the same game. Like Sam wasn't like down, but it was very clear. He was like, you could tell, even if you didn't watch the game, you could definitely tell his side of the ball didn't do much. You just tell. Same with Cooper Kupp's. And that's how it feels watching the team. On one hand, it's like in the moment, I'm like, this is great. They won. The Seahawks have actually won 4 straight. I don't even know if we mentioned that. We're over an hour into the show. They've won 4 straight. That's great. They've won 11 games. That's the most since 2020. But again, just on those stats alone, that's great. On the when I adjust expectations, I'm like, yeah, but you could easily be last year's Vikings. You 14 wins and get bounced, if you don't fix A, B, and C. So, and I don't say that because they have Sam. It's a team that won a lot of games but didn't get anywhere close to where they should have gone. And that's kind of how I'm viewing this team now. My expectations, I think after Jax was the first guy to 700 yards. So I was like, oh, this team should make a run here. And they should. But now I'm viewing it as okay, well, what's going to stop them? So that's why I'm conflicted, because you shouldn't view football that way. You should just kind of enjoy what you're watching, which I do, especially when I go back and watch the film. But yeah, I'm also just this team should make a Super Bowl run. So run the ball better, guys. Kubiak, what do you do? For real, that's kind of how I feel when I watch the tape, and I watch him live, but definitely when I watch the tape, it's like this team should be better. As good as it is, it should be better.
This next one is from Quentin. How much longer can the NFLPA let short weeks like these, with so much on the line at this point in the season, stay part of the NFL schedule?
Oh, I got an answer for you there. Let's Google. How much did Amazon pay for Thursday Night Football rights? All right, according to AI, it's according to Bloomberg. Headline: NFL signs $105 billion TV deal with Amazon, taking Thursdays. So forever. There's your answer. Did I read? Did I say 105 billion? That sure does. 105. Oh wow. Oh, that's for all of the rights, not just Amazon. Sorry. Amazon's deal, according to Chat GPT, whatever AI search engine this is on Google, says Amazon paid approximately $1 billion. Oh wow. As part of $1 billion per year. As part of an 11-year deal for Thursday Night Football. So there's your answer. As long what was that deal for? 11 years. So there you go. How long will it go? 11 more, or until this contract runs through 2032 or something like that. 2033. There you go. Till 2033. Amazon paid $1 billion a year. Those games will stand. Short weeks ain't going nowhere at all because money talks.
Last one comes from my guy Kimwell. Before you guys covered a team, who was your favorite NFL team growing up?
I'll be honest. Go. Yeah, you go.
I never really had a favorite team. I was always player jumping. I mean, hell, if you guys follow me on Twitter, my summary, to end my summary of everything I'm doing and whatnot, it says there's 3 things in life that's certain: death, taxes, and 85 will always be open. Huge Chad Johnson fan growing up. So I didn't care about the Bengals. I would watch to see what he did. Sean Taylor, another player who I love watching. Rest in peace to him. I watched a lot of Commanders games because of him. Because I knew he would take guys' heads off. He hated Terrell Owens. He tried to kill that man every game. Every time on Christmas or on Thanksgiving, when it was Cowboys and Commanders, the Washington football team, whatever you want to call, I'm calling the Washington football team, but he would try to kill Terrell Owens. Another team that I used to watch, the Kansas City Chiefs. I have a Facebook post when I said I had a great summary. I was like the Chat GPT before Chat GPT. I broke down how the season would go. I said they win 10, 11 games. They'll go to the playoffs. Alex Smith will do this. Dwayne Bowe will have a good year. I forget who the running back was, but I laid it all out. And you know what happened? Kid Stodamus nailed it. I wasn't a Chiefs fan. I just loved what they were doing over there. I just saw the vision. I was a huge fan of Dwayne Bowe. So as you can see, I don't have a team.
Random.
It is very. Matter of fact, Mike, I'm gonna screenshot it and send you the post later tonight. But needless to say, I never had a team. I was always enjoying watching these players and seeing what they can do. So that's my thing. I never really had a team.
Yeah, me neither. I was always players. LaDainian Tomlinson was my guy. I had multiple items of Chargers gear. I had an LT jersey. Loved LT. I also really liked guys who were just looked like they were having fun. Chad, T.O. I just Michael Vick, just like they just looked cool. Randy, guys that celebrated, had signature celebrations. And LaDainian Tomlinson had one too. Like, because just football looked fun. My mom never let me play, so I was like, yeah, football looks fun. So all those guys that would look like they were having fun. Even Ray Lewis with his dance, like guys who had signature stuff, was always like, yeah, guys who were having fun, because football should be fun. To me, like 9-year-old, 10-year-old, me was like, yeah, that looks fun. Let me do that. And then Michael Vick was just the coolest guy ever, with the braids and the running and the shoes. I was like, yo, this guy's cool. And I was like, what do you mean he's in prison? What happened? What did he do? what do you mean? And it was like a whole HBO special. And I was like, oh my God, the poor dogs. Yeah, that was I never rooted for a team. I went to one Seahawks game ever before I got this job. 2011. Yep. Lost to the Bengals. The Birth of the Legion of Boom, by the way. Buy my book.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
AJ Green.
no favorite
Another
team.
fun receiver that I liked.
Yeah, AJ. Yeah, I mean Julio. You know, I really
Oh.
like Larry Fitzgerald. Jerome Bettis. I was like, man, he's fat, but this is fun. You know, like he was. You know?
Last one. A lot of people probably gonna be like, Chris shouldn't have said it. Antonio Brown. Before he had a meltdown, arguably one of the greatest receivers ever. Just unbelievable. Dude, man. I still can't believe the route he ran in the Super Bowl. He did something and the DB just disappeared and Tom Brady floated to him for a touchdown. He is just amazing. So Antonio Brown is a guy that I watched a lot of. I was hoping to get a Super Bowl. I'm glad he did, but he crashed out later on in his life. But before all that, dog. I would argue with one of my homies about who is better, Julio or AB. And I'm like, bro, give me AB 10 times on Sunday before Julio. I'm sorry. Julio's magnificent, but AB's on another level in my eyes.
Yeah, he's one of them guys who, when like 10 years from now, we'll be able to show kids his highlights, and they'll be like, wait, so that wasn't the best guy ever? You know, in basketball, it's like Kyrie Irving. Like if you should, like 10 years from now, you just pull up like, oh, Kyrie Irving highlights for 10 minutes. You'll be like, wait, so that's the best guy ever, right? You'd be like, no, he actually wasn't. But I can see why you came to that conclusion. Why you would think that, you know, because Kyrie highlights are the best highlights like ever. Same thing with AB. AB's highlights just as good as any Jerry Rice highlight to me. Like, that dude's cold. Anyway, yeah, I appreciate that question. Shout out to Kimwell. It was good. It's the homie. Plays flag with us on Saturdays as well. So anyway, appreciate the love and support on the show. A long one, which is good because we're short on shows this week because it's a short week. Everything's condensed and crashed. Yeah, so short week, schedule's all off. But yeah, appreciate the love. Make sure you subscribe, like everything. Buy my book as well. Again, I will have books Thursday. I will have a bunch of them. Hit me up. I know there's already a few people who said they're going to be at the game. Just hit pregame, please. Let's meet pregame. Halftime is very tight. I can do it. I don't like it. Pregame is even, or postgame is even tighter. So if you want a book, let me know ahead of time. DM me. All DMs are open, and then let's try to meet pregame, please. That just helps my schedule so much, particularly on a primetime night. So that said, thank you for the love, and we will catch you guys next time.